Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School, and many of you know that I'm a huge fan of Simmons College in Kentucky, which is the 107th HBCU in the United States. Now, I've got the distinct pleasure of having the president of Simmons College on the line, Dr. Kevin Cosby. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing quite well, boys. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about Simmons.
Yeah, hey man, I have so much respect and admiration for what you're doing in Kentucky. I know that in addition to to running an entire university, you also are the head of St. Stephen's Church, which is the largest Black mega church in the state of Kentucky. So you're a busy man doing a lot of work. Tell me about Simmons and just what inspired you to really take over such a massive task.
Well, what motivated me to take over the presidency of the school is not because I didn't have other things to do. I did, but I realized that the health of the black community is predicated on the reconstituting of black-controlled institutions. And the great Dr. Y.T. Walker said that because of integration, uh, several institutions disintegrated that are essential for black wholeness and black health. One of them was our historical black colleges and universities. Simmons historically had the distinction of being one of the few black owned and operated colleges that was a university with a medical school, law school, liberal arts college named for an African American. Howard, of course, great school, but it was named after a white person. Morehouse was a white Baptist minister, so was Spelman and Fisk. Simmons was a black man. Uh, it was the father of the black social gospel movement that gave birth to men like Mordecai Johnson, Vernon Johns, Benjamin Mays, and Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, et cetera, et cetera. Him and Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, they were peers. In fact, you can go online and look up his book that he wrote in the 19th century called Men of Mark. It's part of the public domain, and it is worth having just in order to read what Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, who is one of the fathers of black nationalism, he's the one that said black God is black. He said that before Marcus Garvey. So uh,
Hmm.
Simmons, I knew about Simmons because my grandfather was a graduate of Simmons back in the 20s, got a degree in mathematics from Simmons. And when I became president, I wanted to restore it back to its glory. And Simmons is on the fast track, becoming one of the preeminent colleges and universities in America. We're the fastest growing college in the state of Kentucky. We have the most affordable tuition for a private college, one of the most affordable of colleges and universities in America. We are 60% of our student body is African American males. Over 60% of our student body is first generation college students, and we are exploding. Um, we we are our graduation rate in the last 4 years. We've had a 500% increase in graduations. So
Hmm.
no college is doing the type of things that we are doing, and we're poised to do even greater things. We're our campus was built by the hands of former slaves. I hate to call them slaves; they were enslaved people, but those buildings were built by our ancestors who were enslaved by white supremacy and slaveocracy, and we've got those original buildings we're operating in and other buildings. So in the 11 years that I've been president, our footprint, our campus has tripled, and
Hmm.
so great things are taking place. And we're just proud to be. We're one of the 10 oldest historical black colleges and universities in America.
Wow.
And
Wow. That's
we
amazing.
got chartered in 1873. Uh,
Hmm.
so 8 years after the end of the Civil War, and in 1865, Simmons College, Kentucky, got its charter with the state of Kentucky,
Wow.
and it was black people doing FUBU for us by us, because unless we control our own and have our own, that's what power is. This country does not respect anything but power. You cannot depend on the benevolence and goodwill of other people. You always must operate from a position of power and strength, and having our own institutions, our own businesses, our own colleges, our own families, our own um, institutions such as churches, only churches that are down with the struggle and is using faith to advance those who have been locked out because of white supremacy. I'm not just talking about any kind of church. I'm talking about churches that Henry Highland Garnett, Samuel Nat Turner, Denmark BC, and those and Harriet Tubman would be comfortable in. And
Wow.
that's the kind of church that we're developing. This type of institution we're developing because the cavalry is not coming to rescue us.
Wow.
But when we turn to each other, we can rescue ourselves.
There you go. I was really fascinated by the fact that you did something that a lot of people would never do, which was did you tell me that you deferred your salary or didn't take a salary
Yes,
for a while?
yes, yes. I turned my check in for 10 years.
For
For ten
wow.
years, I gave my salary back in total, and with the church, it's like $1 million. I gave it back.
Mm,
Uh, but that's the money is not important to me. If I'm going to be a person, a clergyman, then I can't be money centric. I must be community centric, which I'm trying to be to the best of my ability, and trying to encourage other Christians and other churches to be the same thing. So I have not missed it. God has been good to me. My church has been good to me. So I could easily forfeit that money for the sake of the institution. And as a result of it, we not only got accredited, but we got designated the 107th Historical Black College and University. And
wow.
so just great things are taking place. And if I had to do it over again, I would do it in a minute. You don't have to, I just want to see institutions built in our community that we control that is advancing our people.
Wow. So let me ask you this: how did your church? I mean, I know you run St. Stephen's as well, and for people who don't know, St. Stephen's in Louisville is not a tiny church. It is a massive church with thousands of members. How did your congregation, step up to the plate in terms of getting behind your vision of stepping outside
Well,
the
when
pulpit?
I became the president of Simmons. Simmons lacked, like all historical black colleges, uh, the resources, and we lack the resources. For every $15 that white people have, we have $1. So it's a 15 to 1 wealth gap. So and that's because of of oppression and suppression and a stolen wealth. So, but what we do have resources. And so what my congregation did was they volunteered. I have a my God, a lot of staff at the church. We have on our payroll, and we're right in the hood, by the way. St. Stephen's Church is is in the heart of one of the poorest neighborhoods in Louisville, and our members and our staff was willing to volunteer their time so that Simmons didn't need a staff because our members were becoming the staff, and other pastors were doing the same thing in other churches, and so they they gave of their time, their talents, and their treasures in order to keep it going. And it's the greatest success story in America. There is nothing in Black America that can compare to the success and the revitalization of Simmons College of Kentucky in Louisville. Nothing compares to it.
Wow. Wow. Well, I know you are a super busy man, so I'm going to end with this last question. For all the pastors or involved church members around the country or around the world actually that are listening and trying to understand how the church can play a stronger role in community development, what advice would you give to them in terms of how we can channel our strongest institution, which is the church, into building other institutions that go beyond the church and into the community?
Well, the Jewish community has a model called "Stronger Together," and African Americans can be so much stronger together. For example, during Christmas time, why are we going out to the malls? Why are we encouraging our people to set up uh, booths and entrepreneurs that are members of our churches? And you have to be a member of the church. just people in our community. Why don't we get them to set up uh, booths and kiosks so that they can sell their wares every year? We have our malls. In fact, once a month, we turn our gym into a mall so that black vendors and who have everything to sell from jewelry to hats and coats, we let them come to use our gym free. We don't charge them anything. So they come in, they use their, St. Stephen Church, the people give money, put money in those plates. So we're supposed to serve the community. We don't charge them anything. All we ask them to do is from their profits reinvest in other institutions in the black community. You know what I mean? Keep the dollars circulating in our community. So that's one thing that the church needs to be doing in terms of stimulating economic development is that helping to identify black vendors. The second, and help black vendors. The second thing we're doing is we are partnering with other progressive white churches in the East End. I teach every week a group of pastors at Simmons College. Every week I have lunch for them. And every Monday we gather to talk about black power. I've gone through Stokely Carmichael, Claude Anderson. We've talked about black power to help them understand that there's a trade deficit between blacks and whites in which the dollar does not turn over in the black community. As Claude Anderson says, 98.7% of black wealth is spent in the white community, which means that the white community not only retains 100% of their wealth, they're getting 97% of our wealth. So no wonder the black community is so poor because we have become a get colony, get hyphenated colony. We're ghettos because we're socially isolated. We're colonies because we don't control the economy in our community. So what I've encouraged these pastors to do, if they claim to be Christian, that they would intentionally patronize black businesses. And these pastors have agreed that 40% of their budget will go towards patronizing black businesses that are located in our community. So we can stimulate a whole lot of economic development ourselves if the churches came together. Another thing we can do, since we own our own building, I own my own building. I own my campus. Okay, I have three campuses with a total acreage maybe of I own maybe about 80 acres. Okay, 80 acres and three huge facilities, which means we can use our facilities to house events for the black community. We should use our Sunday school time to teach empowerment. And that's what we do in our classes, our Sunday school class. We're gonna have the Bible in one hand, and we're gonna have Claude Alexander's book in the other hand. So we can use our Sunday school classes and our after school programs. There's so much that the churches can do to help stimulate renewal and development in the community.
Wow. Well, I love it, man. I absolutely love it. And I want to say to everybody listening, make sure you take the time to support when you see things like this happening. This contribution, this support is very important. And so I want to say thank you very much, Dr. Cosby, for giving us
Well,
your time.
thank you, man. We're together. If we work together, we arrive together, and I will work with anyone. I'm an unapologetic Christian. But anyone who loves black people, and especially the people who are in our hood, who are so marginalized and so hopeless, I'm going to work with you, boys. I'll work with the Nation of Islam. I'll work with people who are maybe people of non-faith, you know what I mean? But whoever wants to help create community and empower our people, man, that's what we need to be about.
All right, all right. Well, you and I will be working together. I'm going to see you next Saturday when I go to Louisville, Kentucky, on March 12th, for the next stop of our Black Economic Empowerment Tour. And I want everybody to also know that Dr. Cosby actually bought 40 seats for as a donation for those who can't afford the tickets. And so he doesn't just talk about it; he actually is about it. And thank you once again, Dr. Cosby, and I appreciate this. And
Appreciate you, buddy.
absolutely, and everybody who's listening, please go check out Simmons College in Kentucky. If you feel compelled, please make a donation. Please support. Also, if you want to know more about the Black Economic Empowerment Tour, we're going to a lot of cities. Chicago. We went to Atlanta. We're going to Louisville next week. Well, we're going to Baltimore, Los Angeles, Houston, all over the country. So if you want to find out more, visit thedrboycewatkinstour.com, thedrboycewatkinstour.com. So until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.